Hi, this is Mark Fiquez, and you're listening to the Ballpark Hunter podcast. With me today is Alexander Fysh, the creator of the Ottawa Titans logo, among some other identity branding for the ball club. And we have talked before, but this is the first time I've had him on the podcast. So, Alex, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark.
So, you are the gentleman who's responsible for that very creative logo of the Titans, which I personally like. I think it's different. It has a very childlike friendliness to it. And you and I talked about that before. But the question I want to know to start things off today is how did this all begin? We all kind of dream about creating a logo, at least I did. How did that become a reality for you?
Well, I guess 2 falls ago, because they skipped a season because of the pandemic. But 2 falls ago, when they had the name the team contest, I was, of course, spamming them with naming submissions. And every time I'd put in a naming submission, I'd accompany it with, what I would do for a logo and branding for that particular submission. So through that, they were a little familiar with my work and what I could do. And then when the naming contest closed, I just shot them an email and I said, "Hi, I'd like a shot at doing your logo." At this point, I didn't know what the name would be, but I just said, if you want to give me a chance, I'd appreciate it, And they said sure. So they gave me a shot, and I went through a few different options. And initially, I was really going down the Greek angle because Titans, but they didn't want to go too close to the Senators. So
Definitely.
And then I started kind of settling on this big red Titan figure, and from there they liked it a lot, and it just became a reality. So
and when okay, it becomes a reality. And what was the process of this figure? Obviously you didn't want to get close to what the Ottawa Senators had, but was this creature you created, did it stem from something? Was it created on the spot? Did you base it on another logo?
Well, I mean, the logo itself, like not the cap emblem, but the other logo is kind of a mix of some of my favorite major league logos. I've always loved the Twins shoulder patch with the Minnie and Paul shaking hands. So I wanted to kind of work that in. And then I love the Mets skyline logo. And I figured having a Titan, because you want to show that he's a Titan. So he's towering over the skyline of Ottawa. So I did that. And then for the lettering, I went with kind of the Giants font. So it was kind of a mashup of those things that I enjoyed all into one. And for the Titan itself, because we didn't want to go the Greek angle, I thought, well, I guess I'll put him in a baseball uniform, like for the city. And I kind of, there's like the Bugs Bunny Abominable Snowman character.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of had that in mind, because it's kind of, leaves his face a little anonymous, so like he can just be the Titan,
Yes.
So that's kind of what I was going for in the moment. And I decided to make him red just because I think the colors they were kind of hoping I'd go with were red, black, and white, because that tends to be Ottawa sports colors.
Yeah, and they're great colors.
Yeah. So I think so I just made him red, and it was Regan Cates' suggestion to slap the maple leaf on his biceps, so which I think pretty nice touch. So
yeah, I think if you're a Canadian team, it's mandatory to have a Canadian flag somewhere.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Blue Jays, I think, had a maple leaf on the shoulder at one time, right? Their logo.
Yeah. Well, I think with a lot of what I'm kind of discovering with because of this process, I've been a little more involved with like the branding side of things, and you got to appeal to all sorts of demographics. And I think one that you can't leave out is the uber patriotic demographic.
Mm-hmm.
So if you give them like something in Canada, if you give them something red and has a maple leaf in the mix, they'll just eat that up. So
they'll be happy with it. Yeah, because I also noticed, like, when you created the logo, you almost created their uniform. It's a white pinstripe uniform, and I think you told me that you borrowed it from the old Ottawa Giants, the font, the logo.
Well, I went with it's basically the San Francisco Giants font, but I tweaked it so it's unique. But the reason I went with that was because at one point when it was the New York Giants, I don't know if it was their what level affiliate it was, but Ottawa had it, Ottawa Giants. So that was in the 50s. So it's going ways back.
And I did some research, and I actually found a picture of a gentleman wearing an Ottawa cap Ottawa Giants cap, and it looks like yours, except it doesn't have the T. And
Yeah.
it was in black and white. I'm like, oh, what a great connection, and I pointed that out to a few people, and they're like, oh, that's what I love about, baseball and logos. There's a connection to the past, even though, I mean, I think 52, 53 is when the Ottawa Giants last played many moons ago, but it's nice to give a nod. And I'm sure there's some old timers who remember going to those games.
Yeah. Well, Ebbets actually had the Ottawa Giants hat.
Oh,
they didn't have it in my size by the time I discovered it. So
yeah, great. And it's like, okay, well, you could just create your own, right?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah.
You have that type of pull. Now, are you wearing a cap today? Are you wearing the Ottawa cap?
I'm wearing a Winnipeg Goldeyes hat right now.
There you go. Look at that. I haven't seen that one.
This is like a throwback hat that they just had on their site. It's kind of funny because I bought this before I made the connection with the Cateses and did the logo, but because my name's Fysh, it works.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I buy a lot of hats. It's kind of my wife's kind of wants me to tone down on the hats, but I've been big on buying minor league hats. So,
oh man, go. How many hats do you have?
Probably, I don't know. I haven't counted them in a while. At least over 20.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's just playing about 20 caps.
Well, she bought me my first Father's Day gift ever. She bought me a hat rack, and it was meant to hold about 12 hats, and it's probably more than 20 actually. Now I think about it. But yeah, it just my hat collection's kind of ballooned since then to the point where it's taken over the shelf next to it as well. So
I know you got to get creative. Ed Rivera, who does the Dad Hat Chronicles, has I think 200 caps, and every week he's ordering at least 2 to 3 caps. Yeah. And his hats, and when he does his podcast, they hang up over the wall, and he has them, meticulously up there. And my wife she doesn't complain about my hat. She just says, hey, can you just all get them somewhere and put them someplace nice?
Yeah.
Up until right before the pandemic, we had a Lids outlet store.
Ooh.
And they would have $5 caps of any kind of team. It could be random. It could be Major League, NBA, $5 caps. And that was my sanctuary. I would go there and buy these caps. You can buy, my God.
I'm jealous of that.
And then some were 10, some were 20. And then you could buy some old throwback jerseys or current jerseys for 10, 20 bucks. And then poof, it just disappeared. I went there one day, it was locked. You saw the hats inside. You're like, okay, once the pandemic's up, but they were gone. I should have bought more. I don't know why I didn't buy more. I bought a lot of Toronto Maple Leaf caps. For some reason, they would all get shipped down there. So I have like a
Maple Leafs here.
Yeah.
My duty as a Senators fan.
But Toronto Blue Jays, and it's like, okay, I don't see these caps, I'll buy them. But I'm a Devils fan when it comes to hockey. Never found New York Jet caps. The teams that I liked, just random major league, minor league teams. So that was a good time. So anyway, getting back to your logo, you finally create it. They introduce it. What was the reaction? Did you get? I mean, obviously, people like this logo. I hope they like this logo.
It's been because at the time it was weird because at the time there was like a little corner negativity, but like it was overwhelmingly positive, and that's kind of like grown since then. And I feel like I really felt the love when they finally were able to play a game, and I was able to go to the ballpark.
Oh my goodness!
Because you see like the kids wearing it, like a kid that doesn't know me, doesn't know I came up to came up with the logo. She comes up and goes, "Look at my shirt. It's cool," and it's like
I created that. That. I did that.
Well, Well, the other thing too is like, so the mascot Cappy, I didn't name him, but they created the suit based on my drawing. So it's my drawing walking around, and that in itself has been a whole thing. Cause like my kid's like in love with Cappy. She's she's almost 3, and just Cappy's like her favorite, he's the big draw for going to the games. So.
Well, that's you. See, when I was 3, I was scared of mascots like Mickey Mouse. So I can only imagine what I would have been like with Cappy. But no, you're absolutely right. You created the logo, you created the the bases of the jersey, but yeah, the mascot's walking around.
Mhm.
I mean, some people create a logo, they create the hat logo, they create the main logo, the shoulder patch. I mean, you
Mhm.
just went all in on
Yeah.
all different stuff. But when you heard negativity, like, how did you take that? Were you like, yeah, whatever? Or do you have to have thick
Uh,
skin when you do something like
I
this?
admit, I kind of got it. It kind of got to me more than I should have. My wife's like, "Oh, you're always," and then I kind of realized, like, the proportion of negativity is very low, and I kind
Mhm.
of realized it was like just a couple guys that really didn't like it that were kind of just like going to all the different places and complaining about it. But then one of them tried his hand at like how his take on it, and I was kind of like, "Oh well, I really hate that." So kind of made me go, "Okay, well, he hates my logo. I hate his attempt at a logo. It's all
Mhm.
right." So yeah,
Well, there's critics everywhere. I mean, if you make a
yeah,
movie, if you
mhm,
come up with a new restaurant, I mean, yeah, people are going to be
yeah,
critics. And some of the articles that I write or some of the things that I say that I think, oh, this is going to be a great, or some of the rankings. I did
mhm.
a ranking on Southern Professional Hockey League about 3 years ago, and I got huge criticisms for it. People were saying that I wasn't taking actual pictures at some of the arenas, and how can I rate it this way, and how can somebody say this about this stadium? And
Well, they all
I
get
mean,
very protective of their own
they
places
get
too.
very
They're probably,
protective. Yeah.
it's like anything. It's like, even like with a team, if you say like, "Oh, your team's, not as good," they're like, "My team's the best." So
Or
yeah,
down here with our politics, if you
yeah,
you vote for Biden or you voted for Trump,
yeah.
you you get a lot of you get into a lot of arguments, not debates or discussions, arguments. It can get
Mhm.
ugly, and that's why you just don't talk about politics.
At least with the
So
sports thing, it's like doesn't no real consequences, so it's a little more fun to argue about that stuff.
yeah,
So
definitely more fun. All right, so you created the logo, you finally get to see it in action. What's your connection with the Titans? Do they let you walk into the game? Do they give you free merch?
I ended up getting just like free season tickets and just kind of discounts, but I think that comes with the season tickets too.
Mhm.
And just yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got to have a chat with Regan Katz, I guess he's this owner's son, but he's really the guy running it around there.
Mhm.
And that was like really interesting because he was talking about the plans for the stadium going forward. Because like they play in a 10,000 seat stadium, right? And
Yes,
it was meant for the Ottawa Lynx, and probably for this league,
a little
like
too
probably
big.
way too big.
Yeah,
But they're
a little bit,
talking about,
a little
yeah,
bit.
he's talking about his plans to maybe like tear out a lot of the seats in the upper decks and replace them with like patios and play areas and things like that. And I was really excited about that. So it was kind of pretty cool to get to talk to him and like kind of hear the inside track on like his plans for what to do with this team and how it's going to be a success in this community. So yeah,
Yeah, because with you, you want this team to last. You don't want this team to
yeah,
be like the Ottawa Champions or the Rapids or the Fat Cats that
mhm,
are here today, gone tomorrow. You
yeah,
want this team to be successful. You want people to come out to the stadium. I've went to that stadium in 1996 to see the Lynx. I have video
mhm,
from it. Perhaps we can show it right now as we speak. Hope you're
mhm.
enjoying that old video from '96 as I'm talking. But you're right. I don't think it's changed dramatically from the seating bowl. And you're right. 10,000 is just too big
Yeah, because
for independent.
they'll have like one thing that I always kind of found. I don't know if I found it sad, but like there'll be a game that I'm at and it was like a pretty well attended game, like maybe like you know 2,500 people, which is good for a Frontier League game, and the stadium felt full by their standards. And then you see the pictures, from the game afterwards, just
Mhm.
the angle they caught the picture. There's like one person in the stands.
Yeah.
So that always kind of felt a little silly. But it's just because people go there and they spread out, and especially as the season progressed, the attendance was. But the last game was we were almost at 4,000 for the last game, and that felt really nice. And I feel like that's like maybe an achievable thing in the future to kind of get crowds like that out for like Saturday night games. So I think if they can do that, that'd be like really fun and really good for baseball in Ottawa.
Now, how, speaking of baseball in Ottawa, you said that they had a crowd of 4,000. Does anything feel different about this team that you're saying, hey, they're going to last? They're going to be here for a while. I mean, what's the perception you're getting this summer?
Um, well, I mean, at the start of the season, I gotta admit, it seemed a little lower than I was expecting, but they're getting hit by the weather. But I feel like it's just like I think the Cateses, because they've run the Winnipeg Gold Eyes for years. I think they kind of know how to make independent baseball work in Canada.
Mhm.
So I feel like, and you could see that as the season went on, and they got the feel for the Ottawa community. So I think basically just like they're starting to get a foothold, and I think advertising is one thing, but they're starting to get the word of mouth. Sorry, that was on my end.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so they're starting to get the word of mouth out there, and I don't know, I just see it kind of gradually picking up. So
No, and that's exactly what you want. Because I think Ottawa would be. I mean, I think Ottawa would be a great AAA ballpark or a AA ballpark, and I hope that this is a major city, capital of Canada, that you can get folks out there.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, like when the Lynx, the first few years of the Lynx, it was like almost sold out every night, and it just kind of
good old days.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like fresh off. I think the Jays had just won their second World Series the season before, and at the time though, the Lynx were the AAA affiliate of the Expos, and I think that was huge for a lot of people, because I think when the Lynx's attendance really plummeted was when it kind of became clear the Expos weren't long for Montreal, and so the Lynx switched their affiliation to, I forget whether it was Philly or Baltimore.
I want to say they went, Baltimore, Minnesota. It was.
They hopped around a bit in their last
hopped
few
around,
years.
and I think that franchise wound up going to Lehigh Valley, correct? Allentown.
Yeah, the Iron Pigs. Yeah,
it became the Iron Pigs.
Yeah, and I think it was just, I think people really wanted to see guys that were going to be playing for either the Expos or the Blue Jays, so that was kind of a big blow to them, I think. And even like a few years back, because before the Champions came to town, there was talk of getting a AA team. I think a lot of people were hopeful the Jays would abandon the Fisher Cats and go with a AA team in Ottawa. And I think, for that to have been successful, I think it would have had to have been affiliated with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it just seems like certain markets you need that certain team, because obviously that Canadian connection. I don't know if you can go with. Could you go with Boston? Could you go with the Yankees up there? I mean, or does it just have to be the Jays?
I mean, I think there's a handful of. I think it would have to be the Jays at this point, or if Montreal ever got another team, I think, if that
Fingers
happened,
crossed.
I think that would almost be preferable, because it's a much quicker drive up to Montreal. I remember being able to go to Montreal to see the guys you'd seen on the Lynx play for them. So.
Yeah, that's about 2-hour drive, if I recall.
Yeah.
I remember making that drive back in '96, and you go from all French to English once you cross the border. It was kind of to me, it was interesting how that happened, but obviously, I was
actually just in Montreal yesterday. I took a day trip on the train with my family. So,
how is Montreal these days? It's been much too long for me.
Oh, it's good. I mean, summertime in Montreal, it's nice.
Very good time. Very good time. Yeah. But so baseball, you create the logo. Have you working on any other projects, making any other logos for a team, a company?
Right now I'm kind of nothing along those lines. I'm working on so I'm an animator by trade, and there's the animation festival in Ottawa coming up, and a bunch of my animator friends put together this art show every year for it. Well, every year it's in person. And this is the first big year back, and the theme they chose this year is sports. So it's right up my alley.
Oh, perfect.
So I'm working on a poster. My project of choice I've chosen is I'm doing a poster for the 3023 All-Star game on the moon. So it's kind of
okay.
I get to design jerseys for all these teams from the future. So it's kind of, and also. And I'm also incorporated, when I was doing research for it, I came across this guy, Charles Fazzino. I don't know if you'd be familiar with him.
No, I'm not familiar.
I think you would like some of his artwork, because if you Google Charles Fazzino All-Star.
Do that right now.
Yeah. He does these things where it's like a poster of the stadium, and it's like kind of a caricatured like version of the stadium with like the city around it, things like that. And I'm kind of obsessed with it since I discovered it. I think that's actually something I'd like to do.
Oh yeah, I'm saying this right now.
Yeah, something I'd like to do in the future is maybe do something in his style of Ottawa Stadium, RCGT Park, because I feel like that would be like a fun little project, and maybe I could pitch that to the Titans as something to sell, or
Yeah,
just
no,
used as a promotion.
yeah, no, yeah. I obviously use as promotion; it stands out.
Hmm.
And speaking of that, I noticed that whenever the Titans play a certain team, they create the logo of your team battling like the jackal or battling the miner from or the
Oh, that was just
Eagles. Is that you
that
or is that somebody else?
that was just me that I drew by
Yeah.
myself. I just did that for fun. I kind of my plan was to do that for every team they played in the Frontier League, but
Yes.
work got a little busy at the start of the summer, so I think I
See,
only got to I yeah, I did
you had
have
the
about half the league.
I think you had the Eagles, correct?
Yeah, I had the Eagles, I had the Capitals, I had their lion also named Cappy.
Yes.
I had actually I could bring it up on the computer just to remember.
Nice. Yeah.
Just
No. Yeah. So you didn't have the jackals,
I
which
I have a sketch for the Jackals. I
oh,
plan to
that'd be
complete the
nice.
series. I plan to complete the series. I just
Sad.
have got a little off track with
Yeah.
it. But
See, I
I
like that. I thought that was like maybe a poster they were selling at the games, kind of like what they do in soccer. When, two
no,
teams
it was
battle each
just
other.
I came across this T-shirt. Like this vintage store I follow on Instagram was selling these vintage T-shirts of the Twins versus the Jays '91 ALCS series.
Mm,
And they had a cartoon Blue Jay and like these cartoon twins batting. And I was like, I want to do that. So I
nice.
started, because I created Cappy, I started just drawing him against, various identities of other teams. So I managed to do the Grizzlies, the Otters, the Yalls, the Thunderbolts, the Slammers,
Oh
the
wow, I didn't.
Eagles. Yeah,
Okay, I haven't seen
yeah,
some of these. I don't think I saw the Thunderbolts. Was that just what a lightning bolt, God of
yeah.
Thunder, or
Well, I did. I'll send it to you on
yeah,
Facebook so you can check it out afterwards. But
yeah? We can post some of these pictures up as we speak, just so the
yeah,
fans can see what we're talking about. I mean, I just
yeah,
visually, I love what that is. It just sort of reminds me of those old newspaper cartoonists that would
mhm,
used to draw the logos for minor
yeah,
league teams, and they would post that in the newspaper. That just took me back to that. And
yeah.
the Brooklyn Dodgers, I think New York Post or one of the New York papers would write things like that for the Dodgers.
Well, yeah,
It's
I just love the like that kind of stuff
yeah, that
too.
kind of
So
stuff. You're right. And like the jackals, you would have them jackal, or these vicious, crazy animals that would
yeah,
try to gnaw at you. And here's, your Cappy is fending them off with his muscles. It's
yeah. Well,
very nice.
I've got a few of them that are half done. Like I've got my Jackal sketch done. I think I actually finished what I did for the Grays, but I just never got around to
Yeah.
uh, uh, and I don't know if the Grays are going to be back in the league next year, what the plan is with that, because they were just kind of like a road team this year.
That's the thing with
Yeah.
independent baseball. On my YouTube page, I just and I probably should have released this earlier, but I pushed some things around just because of various reasons. But the Pecos League has a team called the Weimar Hormigas, which is red ants in Spanish. And I guess when I
Oh,
posted
cool.
it today, they, I think no, I'm not wearing the hat. I was earlier. Somebody told me the team folded, that they're not coming back, and I was like, man, that kind of stinks because I thought they had a great logo. I liked the
Yeah.
stadium they played in. It was like an old school 1947 ballpark. And
Well, I
then I
don't know
go
if
in,
the
yeah,
oh, I
and then
don't
I
know if the
went on the
Grays were.
Pecos League. I'm sorry, I went on the Pecos League, and I saw that they had like two new teams, and that team was gone. So I think we're starting already with teams coming and going. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. What'd you have to say?
I just don't know if the Grays were ever meant to go
No,
beyond this season though,
no,
because they were.
yeah, they're a filler.
Although I did kind of like because I looked up what the backstory behind why they were called the Grays was, and I thought that was really neat. That it
Yeah,
was
the
like
old
the Zanesville team, the
yeah.
Zanesville Grays, which is I think is like a really cool identity for a team because like the Zane Gray, you
Yeah,
know,
no.
yeah,
If you look at the Frontier League when they first started, I want to say 1993, their goal was to put teams in very small towns like Zanesville and Newark, Ohio, and Chillicothe, Ohio. These small little towns that had some kind of ballpark, and they had a team called the West Virginia Coal Sox. I thought that was such a cool name for a team.
yeah.
Then they had a team. Oh, what the heck was that one team? The Ohio Valley. Oh, I can't think of it. I want to say Rebels, Ohio Valley Rebels. They just had these all
Yeah,
Richmond, Indiana had a team called the Roosters, and they played in these really old ballparks. And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, it's not working out just
it was
because
called
of
the Richmond Roosters. I
yeah,
gotta look
Richmond
these guys
Roosters.
up. I feel like Roosters is a good identity for a ball team.
They had a great logo. It was like a badass a rooster.
Oh,
They
I love it.
yeah, it was a great logo. You're right. I don't. How many teams are called the Roosters in minor league baseball? I don't. They wind up moving to Traverse City, becoming the Beach Bums. But
Ooh,
I
I would
remember, I
I would
remember.
love to track down a hat of this if I
Yeah,
could.
they played about 70 miles away from me. And you go back, the team now is called the Richmond Jazz. They play in the not Ohio Valley League, Great Lakes League.
Yeah.
Nothing against the name Jazz, but I mean Roosters is such a better identity, and I don't know if that's trademark or if somebody's holding on to it, but they need to bring that back because it just sounds good. Richmond Roosters. So
Yeah. No, I think I mean I love it. And I don't know how hard it would be to track down one of these caps, but
I tell you, it's
do my
sometimes I
best.
do. Yeah, sometimes I do research on teams. There was a team in the mid America League in 1997 or 95, and they were based out of East Chicago, Indiana, and they were called the East Chicago Conquistadors. And they had jerseys with just the hat logo, but there was nothing on the front. Whatever they couldn't get their jerseys in time,
Oh,
so they
okay.
played most of the year with a pair of gray pants and white tops, which just a number on the back.
Hmm.
And I found some
What was their
pictures in the newspaper, and it was ridiculous looking.
what was their logo like
Their
on the cap?
logo, I could send that to you. I do have an article on that. Their logo was just something that they, post printed up on. Okay, we could show the logo here right now. That's what the logo looked like.
Because
I'll
one of my
show.
favorites is the old Albuquerque Dukes.
Oh yeah, and there's
Yeah,
a website. Have you been to
I have.
abqdukes.com?
Yeah, I have a hat that I bought from them. Although I kind of want to get like with a 50th anniversary hat they just put out.
Yeah, I
But
saw that. I
yeah,
saw that. They the type of hat that I wanted to get, they were sold out, but I wonder if I may have to look back at that. I did order some old school hats from the 40s from there with the old A. Beautiful, well done. They do a great job on their merchandise
I
there.
love that idea of like turning this defunct team into a brand. You know, that's
Yeah,
like that prolific in the city. Like because I think the Isotopes play a weekend every year as the Dukes, right?
they do. I wish they would have went back with Dukes, but I guess they're able to say, hey, we can do the Isotopes, get a lot of attention and sell
Yeah,
merchandise,
'cause
and
the
then
Simpsons
yeah, the
reference.
Simpsons reference. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
send you this. I wrote an article about it for Stadium Journey. I'll send it to you right now. And like the logo, it looks like the ballpark logo, the ball cap logo was a scripted cue. But other than that, there's very limited stuff you can find on the internet. I would love to find somebody with one of those caps, and I actually reached out to some folks who worked for the team that are still working, that I was able to track down, and they haven't responded back to me. So I don't know if
maybe they're hoarding all that for themselves.
just I was just looking for quotes. Oh yeah, here it is. Oh yeah, I see. I love crows. That's like my favorite bird. If I had to name a baseball team, it would be called crows somehow. I don't know how to get that in there, but yeah. Oh, that's nice, jailbird. Oh, here's the
Yeah,
the lightning. Yeah, this is really nice work, and you're doing this. You're not doing this. You're doing this on your free time. Some of this.
yeah. This was just for fun. Like I kind of realized because I did like an animated GIF of Cappy hitting a home run, and it was fun. But I kind of realized that for my stuff in my spare time, like I work at a computer all day animating, so I like to draw on paper for my spare time. So I'd rather do projects that kind of take me away from the computer.
Yeah, I
So
hear you. I hear it. Now, when did you realize you had like a passion to do this? Because when I was a kid, I used to write on my notebooks and book covers in middle school and high school. Different team logos, and then make up my own. Were you one of those kids as well?
oh yeah, I
Yeah,
mean I
it
was
has to
always
be.
drawing a lot, and I think I definitely like in there when I think one of the first things I remember drawing where I kind of said to myself like, hey, I'm good at this was I drew a picture of Joe Carter, you know. Uh so I think that always kind of was there. And then yeah, I love coming up with like team names and stuff like that. But I think it really kind of picked up later for me drawing the design and the logos. I went through a stretch about like 3 years ago where I was just like doing my little take on a lot of minor league teams, like because I think it was like a lot of like the grandiose stuff. Like I just
Edgy.
found it like extra aggressive, and I was like, yeah, baseball should be fun and happy. I feel like that's the tone I would go for. So
Oh no, yeah, you're right. And I like what Brandios does, but sometimes I look at a logo and I'm thinking, and I'm not naming any of the brands, they do a great job. And I'm thinking like, man, that's a baseball logo.
yeah,
Like it's nice, but
well, I like their because I like a cartoony logo. So on that front, I
yes.
really like what they do. But I also like it's just that they always have to make it like mean. And I'm like, it can be a happy animal.
Well, yeah, you look at
Yeah,
Mr. Met, you look at the Baltimore Oriole
yeah,
mascot,
mhm.
they're fun. You look at the old, I think the Detroit Tigers had kind of a cartoonish logo in the 70s,
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah,
Actually, I just got this Tigers hat. Like I'm not it's like got the tiger on the front. Like it's got like an old drawing of a tiger's head on the hat. I don't know if they've ever worn it on the field or anything, but I
mhm.
saw it. I'm like, I need to have this one. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I remember, I go on the websites. I'm like, I want that hat. I want that hat. And it's like, okay, $30 plus shipping and handling. If it's from
wow.
Canada, international fee,
I got the problem the other way. Like the two hats I want the most right now are the Portland Sea Dogs and the Everett Aqua Sox.
Okay.
And just the thing is right now to order them, like the shipping's like more than the hat costs.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
insane.
like well, my dad for Christmas he got me a Carolina Mudcats hat, and I think he
Oh,
didn't realize what
classic.
he just clicked accept on the shipping and
Yeah.
realized that the shipping was like way more than the hat was. So I always wear it whenever I'm going to a game with them or something, and I'll joke that it's the most expensive hat I own. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I was going to order a Sydney Blue Sox cap from Australia.
Mhm.
And you're right. The amount of that it would have been double the price of the hat. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I don't need that hat that bad.
Well,
But
I found a site where I thought I was like, oh, I finally found a way around this because they have all these minor league hats, and then I ordered a Kissimmee Cobras hat,
oh boy,
and
remember them?
yeah, and yeah, it's like one of my favorite hats. Except when it showed up at the door, the guy's like, oh, and you got to pay, like so much duties, unpaid duties on it. So yeah, getting minor league hats in Canada is a little hard right now. But
Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. The shipping and you know, I know my mom would always tell me if you order a cap for me from Canada, put mark as a gift so you don't pay the taxes. I don't know if that's true or not,
mhm.
but I would always give that instruction, mark as a gift. Because I used to order Hamilton Tiger Cats merchandise. I was that kid who
Oh
was
yeah,
following the CFL in 1991, 1990.
oh I love their logo too. It's just like the
Yeah.
jumping cat.
No, it is. And, all I was stupid. All I had to do was go down to Princeton and get a similar looking logo. I think it was the same logo, except one was orange, one was yellow and black. So, yeah, those were the days. But we're still ordering hats. We're still paying international fees and taxes, and it's going to go on. So, Alex, thank you for coming on the show today. I appreciate it. Uh, Anything you want to plug? Let us know what you're doing in the next few months.
I don't know. I mean, nothing really. Just drawing for myself pretty
Just
much. So
drawing. Any
yeah.
any other name the team contest you want to get into? I know the Prospect League has a name the team coming up in Marion, Illinois. I don't know if you want
Oh
to
yeah.
throw your hat into the ring.
Oh, I mean, it's one of those things. I think last time I talked to you, I told you I'd like to do, you know, like do a team's branding again, and I would. But I also kind of started to really appreciate how, being able to do my home team's branding was so important to me, and I think it'd be
Mhm.
kind of cool if someone from their community gets to do
Okay.
that for them. I think, because this has been very special for me. It's been, I go to the ballpark and I don't advertise that I'm the guy, but like my friends tell people and they come up to me and want to shake my hand and gush about how much they love
Nice.
the branding. So I feel like that's been very special for me. And I feel like if someone from another community, that has good roots and connections to that community can get that, that'd be pretty cool.
All right. Well, that's good advice to hear because we all want that local ties with the names or colors or
Mhm.
everything else from the food as well, because there's a lot of teams that always want to serve the local food. So that's good advice. So anybody in Marion, Illinois, Carbondale, Southern Illinois, Jacksonville, Illinois, if you're interested in making a logo for the Prospect League Club, Alexander says go forth.
Just message them and shoot your shot.
All right. Alex, once again, nice talking with you. I'll let you get back to your whatever you're doing on this Labor Day.
Just relaxing.
Just relaxing too. And this episode will be out probably next week. So this will be a fresh new episode. Sometimes I interview guests and a month later the episode comes out and we sound dated, but not this time.
Okay, cool.
All right. Yeah, I'm got to get back on task with scheduling some guests. It's been tough with school and coaching, and hopefully by mid-October I'll be back to normal schedule. So get the off season going. All right. Well, Alex, thank you for coming on. This is Mark Viquez, the Ballpark Hunter, and you're listening to the Ballpark Hunter podcast. You can also check out my articles on Stadium Journey. You can go to the Ottawa Titans website and maybe check out what they're selling, maybe buy a hat or a shirt, and take it home for you and your family. So until next time, my friends, this is Mark, and we'll talk again. Take care. I'm the Ballpark Hunter. If you like my videos, subscribe.